Thank you. So when I was 13, I had nothing going for me. I was 85 pounds, skinny, nerdy, braces, glasses, very short. But I moved from Oregon to Washington State that next summer, and I arrived to 8th grade a literal different person. A growth spurt had granted me 30 additional pounds, 4 additional inches, a body that worked for sports, and everything went well for me. I tried out for the basketball team, and I made it. And I got to try on a new personality. I was funny and confident. And what's the one thing a newly confident 8th grade boy thinks about most? Girls. I had no luck with girls in the year prior. This visage repelled the female gaze. But I suddenly had social currency. It's like I went from a penniless beggar to Scrooge McDuck in one summer. Now, I grew up my entire life going to church. And what you learn in church is how to approach a relationship, how to treat women with honor. But as the Christian philosopher Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan till you get punched in the face. And I got punched in the face with female interest. Now, I had a good plan, but I let it get the best of me. I dated 2 girls at the same time. It was foolproof because one was at school and one was in my church youth group one town over. They'd never know about each other. The school one, Jamie, she was tall and sweet and really funny, and she laughed at my jokes, which is like drugs to an 8th grade boy. But the other one was short and fiery and spirited, and she had this like always on the defensive energy because she had 2 older brothers that were destined for juvie. A couple of years later, they blew up a propane tank in a Target parking lot and found that they stole the hood ornaments of hundreds of cars. So underneath that angry exterior, she was sweet and loyal as well. Now, it was great for a while, but it kind of got exhausting. Remember when in the 90s, any of you, when you had to talk on the phone to your significant other in the phone attached to your kitchen wall for hours every night? I had to do that twice every night. And I had to do it in such a way that my parents could never know I was dating 2 people at the same time, so I had to use coded language. And so it was a real burden on me. So all that exhaustion brought me a few weeks later to this event at church, an overnighter. Now, if anyone didn't grow up in a church youth group, this was an event where they locked all the teens, a couple of chaperones, and the youth minister in the church overnight, right? Recipe for trouble. Now, it was like a talk about God, maybe a discussion about life's meaning, and then a lot of Sprite and pizza and ping pong till we crashed, right? What could go wrong? I was sitting there in the pew, fingers interlocked with Angie, and the youth minister was talking about respect and how God wants us to love each other, and I had the pang of guilt. I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I had to confess it. So I pulled aside the wisest person I know, a 9th grader named Scott, and I confessed to him what I had done, hoping that he could help me untangle this knot of deceit in a way that wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings, mostly not mine. And instead of helping me, he told somebody else. And then they told somebody else. And then they told somebody else. And it was like a ping pong ball that was getting away from me that you can't pick up. And just about the time they said they were going to separate the girls and the boys for the rest of the night, I got word that Angie wanted to see me. The note said, room 4, 11:15, come alone. I prayed to God, let me find the words that get me out of this. And so I made up this speech. I would tell her that like I used to be this gangly 85-pound weakling, and that if she only saw me then and now, she'd understand and maybe take me back, and it would be great. So I showed up, my speech ready, to this room, and it was empty until Angie showed up with 8 of her friends. And they were not happy to see me. So I mustered up the courage. I walked up to her. And as soon as I said my first word, she reared back her fist and she punched me right in the nuts. And then her friends escaped into the night to leave me on the ground to think about what I had done. I was hurt so bad I had to call my parents to come and pick me up and take me home. I wasn't there for the rest of the night. But on my way home, I realized there was a silver lining here. Jamie, at school, she didn't know anything. This is why you have a backup girlfriend. I showed up. I knew what I did. I knew what I did. But I showed up to school on Monday, and she passed me a note. You know, the kind of note that 8th grade girls fold, tiny, like origami. And there's a reason why 8th grade girls fold notes like that. It's not to be cute. It's so they can get away before you read the note. Because by the time I got it open, she had broken up with me too. Thank you. I don't deserve it, but thank you. And so I was alone. I was girlfriendless, but I was free to really think about what I had done. I mean, I was like one of those lottery winners that had like squandered away all the money instantly. But I always remember this lesson, that confession sometimes feels like a punch in the nuts, but it's always the right thing to do.